This is the story of the time I spent 5 hours doing makeup for free and ended up getting things stolen out of my makeup kit. One time I was contacted by a nonprofit organization asking me if I would be willing to do makeup for a mommy-daughter event. I had worked with this organization in the past and I was super excited to be able to do makeup while helping them out. The only thing is that I didn't exactly know what I was getting myself into. The organization was putting on a weekend-long retreat to give mothers and daughters a chance to bond. The girls there were between the ages of about 6 and 12, all of them accompanied by either their mother or a mother figure. The mothers and daughters spent all weekend doing fun bonding activities, and at the end of the retreat they would be rewarded with a mother-daughter photo shoot, directly following having gotten their hair and makeup styled. And that's where I come in. Originally, I was told that I would only have to attend the portion of the retreat where I was doing their makeup. But given that I had worked with this organization in the past, I went ahead and volunteered my time for the entire day. Whenever I arrived at the campsite, I was shocked to find that there was over double the amount of people that I had originally been told would be there. They had given me a strict time schedule, and my only concern was making sure that I could fit all of the girls into the time slot allowed for me to do their makeup. I found the director of the retreat and told her about my concern, and that's when she told me that I could start doing makeup whenever I needed to, as long as they were ready by the time the photo shoot started. A couple hours later, I started pulling girls one by one from their activities to come and get their makeup done. Just as I was finishing up the first girl's makeup, the hairstylist that they had asked to volunteer showed up. As she was setting up her station next to mine, I walked away for a second to go to the bathroom. Whenever I came back, I noticed that my foundation was missing and so was a concealer. I was more than sure that I had taken it out of my bag and placed it on the edge of the table next to my brushes. I looked all through my makeup bag, but I couldn't find them anywhere. This was a huge problem because I had just lost the most important part of the entire makeup look, and I still had like 15 more people to do. After looking through all of my things, I asked the hairstylist if she remembered seeing them on the table when she arrived. She said she remembered seeing them, but whenever I had gone to the bathroom that she went out to her car to grab her hair clips. This left me in a super awkward situation because now I couldn't do anyone else's makeup, and I pretty much had to go around to every single mother and daughter and ask if they had stolen my items. Spoiler alert, I don't know if you know this, but mothers do not react well to somebody saying that their daughter stole something from them. With the help of another volunteer, we searched through all the rooms, all the counters, all the bathrooms, and the kitchen, but we couldn't find my foundation or concealer literally anywhere. Even though I knew for sure that I had used them on the first girl I did makeup for, I decided to walk out to my car and make sure it hadn't fallen out of my bag. When I came back to my station, there they were sitting on the edge of the table, but someone had definitely messed with my things because there was makeup all over the lid and all over the outside of the bottle. I continued to work on people's makeup for the next couple of hours. No one ever came clean to tell me who touched my makeup, and I never really pursued it because honestly, it just would have been so awkward.
Story time on how I fell in love with my dad and tried to sleep with him. But did he stop me? Okay, so boom, we jumping right into this one. I was 13 years old at the time and both my parents were 40. I'm an only child and they call me Miracle because I was their miracle baby. My parents had been together since high school and claimed they were soulmates, but that made me angry. You see, I love my dad, but not in the father-daughter way. I mean, I'm in love with him. I want to do everything with him, make love with him, and grow old with him. And I want my mom to go away and disappear. My dad always told me how beautiful I was and said that I'm a princess. He opened doors for both me and my mom, but like I said, I just feel like she's in the way. I always kiss my dad on the lips to greet him, and so much times I wanted to go further. But I couldn't because my mom was there, and I would just greet my mom with a regular kiss on the cheeks. She would even joke saying how come she don't get kisses like dad? Ugh, cause you're not him. But I was going to make sure I end up with my dad. I would greet my dad with a kiss on the lips, but I would greet my mom with a kiss on the cheeks. And she would joke around and say, how come I don't get a kiss like dad? Because you're not him. My mom also told me I was pretty and stuff. She was a great mom, but I wanted my dad. And she was stopping that. So I hated her. I always waited for the perfect time to make a move on my dad because deep down I felt my dad wanted me too. Well, one day my mom went on a 3-day vacation with her mom and I was left alone with my dad. This was my chance. I was going to set the mood and try to sleep with my dad. Then we were going to kick my mom out the house and he was going to realize that I was his actual soulmate. So I set the room up with some flowers I found around the house and also with some candles. I told him I had a surprise for him and I blindfolded him and walked him to the room. It was their room, by the way. Then I kissed him, but this time a real kiss. I blindfolded my dad and brought him to the room, and then I kissed him, but this time a real kiss. My dad softly pushed me back and said, "Miracle, what are you doing?" I took his blindfold off and he looked very confused. Then he said, "What is this?" as he looked at the flowers and the candles. Then I told him, "Dad, this is our chance. We don't have to pretend anymore. Take me." My dad just stared in literal confusion. So I made a move and I jumped on him. Then I said it louder. "Dad, take me." My dad immediately took action. He called my mom and he explained everything. My mom canceled her mini vacation and came back home. My dad was screaming like, "What the F is wrong with her? That's disgusting." And to my surprise, my mom said daughters usually fall in love with their dad, but they usually don't take it this far. My mom also said she's obviously sick and said we need to get her some help. My dad called my mom and told her everything that I attempted. My mom canceled her vacation and came back home. My dad was disgusted, but my mom was really more understanding. My mom said that I was obviously sick and needed to get some mental help to get past this. Did I mention my parents had a very healthy relationship? That's why they call each other soulmates. Well, I went to mental health programs, therapists, and all that good stuff for the next 5 years. Now I'm 18 and I don't love my dad in that way. And I actually find myself absolutely crazy that I even was thinking that way when I was 13. I'm 18 now with a boyfriend and my parents still treat me like I'm their daughter. But one thing's for sure, my dad never allows us to be in a room alone together. Child, he wasn't having it. He loved my mom and originally was very disgusted by me. He had to take time to get past it. So to answer, did he stop me? Yes, he did.
Okay, so story time. By the way, go to @GlamByHelen on Instagram and send me your story. You may be featured. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. My best friend stole from literally everyone. Like it was kind of a problem. Well, there was this one time she stole a $50 bill from our teacher's wallet. I have no clue how she didn't get caught. Anyways, we lived in a small town in Florida. So we'll call my best friend Destiny. Well, Destiny's mom was kind of short and her dad was really tall. I promise this plays into the story. Anyways, long story short, Destiny took after her dad and her sister took after her mom. So she was like hella tall. So anyway, she asked me to walk to the Jiffy store in our town. So I didn't think anything of it, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Went inside and she told me to come with her straight to the register. I was kind of confused, but I just rolled with it. As soon as she walked up to the register, she pulls out her sister's wallet, and I recognized it immediately. Then she pulls out a lottery ticket that had $6,000 on it. So anyway, she pulled out a $6,000 lottery ticket. Like she won it, like there was $6,000 on that ticket. Well, anyways, the lady said I need to see your ID. Obviously, she was like underage, but she looked so much older than what she was. So she pulls out her sister's ID and gives it to the cashier. And she walked out of that damn store with $6,000 in her hand. I yelled at her the entire way to her house. Then we finally got up there and she told me to shut up. Kind of rude. Whatever. I didn't want to get into trouble, so I did. Then she slips her sister's wallet back in her purse. And then she told me that we would go shopping the next day for everything. I mean, kind of fun though. I went straight home and I told my nana. And my nana told her dad. And her damn sister didn't even know it was gone. And then the next day, my best friend literally came to school with her dad. Then her dad started talking on the intercom. Like to the whole school. So her dad literally went and talked into the intercom. I don't even know how he got past the principal. Anyways, he started saying stuff about her. Like stuff that would embarrass her. For example, like how she stole all that money, picked her boogers, and he even told the entire school who she liked. FYI, she did tell her dad all these things. And the entire school never looked at her the same way. She got bullied everywhere she went. I mean, that's payback, right?
Story time about how my boyfriend gave me sleeping pills before his boys' night out. I had been dating my boyfriend for a year and we always had a pretty trusting relationship. One weekend, he was going to have a boys' night out with his friends and I was going to stay home. However, earlier in the day, we had gone into an argument about how he never checks his phone while he's out or replies to my text to check in. He said he shouldn't have to check in with me while he's out and I disagreed because I just want to make sure that he's okay. Fast forward to later that night when he's getting ready, I told him that even though we're fighting, I still expect him to keep in touch with me. He agrees this time without putting up a fight and asks me if I want to have a drink with him before he goes. He makes us some cocktails and we drink them together while we wait for his friends to come pick him up. When his friends get there, he kisses me goodbye and leaves. Not even half an hour later, I'm knocked out cold. I remember waking up once just for a second to use the bathroom, but then knocking out again. In the morning when I woke up, he was asleep next to me and I was really confused as to why I slept so much when I wasn't even tired. When my boyfriend woke up, he mentioned how nice it was that I hadn't messaged him and how I must have slept through the night after those cocktails. This raised some red flags and I quickly questioned him about what was in the cocktails. At first, he called me crazy and told me that he didn't do anything to them. However, after about 20 minutes of accusing him, he finally confessed. Part 2. My boyfriend gave me sleeping pills before his boys' night out. After I accused my boyfriend of messing with the cocktails, he admitted to putting a couple Benadryl in my drink. This, mixed with the alcohol, is what made me extremely sleepy and caused me to knock out for the whole night. I was furious when he said it. He clearly didn't see a problem with it and even made a joke about how he should do it more often when he doesn't want me pestering him. I freaked out at him and told him that what he did was not only wrong, but could also be a crime. I think this scared him a bit because he quickly started apologizing and promising to never do it again. Obviously, I'm not stupid and I wasn't going to stay with someone who would do that to me. I quickly called my family, who came rushing over. I packed my things and my brothers kept my now ex in the other room and threatening him not to come around me. I got all my things together with my mom and my sister and left him that very day. He wouldn't stop blowing up my phone with apologies and sending sorry gifts to my work. I had to block his number and threaten him with a restraining order if he ever tried to talk to me again. I was horrified that someone would go to those lengths and I couldn't trust him after this. He even tried to get his family to text me to get back together with him, but when I told them why we broke up, they were shocked too. They apologized profusely on his behalf and told me to stay safe. My boyfriend's girl best friend was always overly flirty with him and would stake her claim on him through passive-aggressive comments. I brought it up once in a cool-like manner and he just replied that she's like that with everyone. I let it slide because I didn't want to come off as insecure and he never gave me a reason to think anything. However, she threw him a surprise party a week before his actual birthday and didn't tell me or invite me. He was confused as to why I wasn't there and she told him that I didn't like his friends and refused to attend. He called me while he was there to drunkenly express how sad he was about my behavior. I could hear his best friend in the background cackling and yelling at him not to give me any more attention and that I'm a horrible girlfriend. The next day I tried calling him but it went straight to voicemail. All the texts went to green and I was sure he blocked me. I talked to his sister, who was coincidentally also not invited to the party because his best friend doesn't like her, and she explained everything to my boyfriend from my point of view. However, his best friend swore that she invited us and it must have been some kind of accident. After that day, he started acting really distant towards me. I asked him if anything happened between him and his best friend and he said no. He said he loved me and understood that it was an accident. 2 weeks later, he was still distant and he sits me down to say it's over after 2 years. I calmly asked him if it was because of his best friend, to which he replied yes. Part 2 of my boyfriend leaving me for his girl best friend. When my boyfriend told me that he was ending things after 2 years, I asked him if it was because of his girl best friend and he said yes. He promised nothing physical happened between them while we were dating, but he had developed feelings for her. He said it just happened. I said that they've been friends for 10 years, so why didn't they date before? He replied that he never thought of her romantically until a few weeks ago. Afterwards, she made it very public that I'm a loser and she won. She also says she was thankful that their friend group won't have to deal with my toxic behavior anymore. I didn't care about this because her actions just showed how low she was. I actually bumped into a few of his friends at the bar a couple weeks after the breakup. They mentioned how they and several other friends were bummed that we broke up because they thought I was sweet and loved having me around. I could tell that they were being genuine. 3 weeks after our breakup, I received a text from a random number. It was my ex. He said he missed me and ended things with his best friend. He asked if we could talk over coffee and hopefully reconcile. He said, I didn't realize how much I'd missed you and now know you're the one for me. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened in this last month. You deserve better and I'm hoping that we can meet up and move past it. I'm fuming he's asking to get back together after screwing his bestie and getting clarity that she's not the one he wants.
Am I the asshole for not wanting to be the babysitter at my friend's wedding? So I, 22 female, love babies. I've always wanted kids, but I want to wait until I'm married to have them. I don't mind watching kids at all, but I dread going to an event and everyone just dumping their kids on me just because they know I like kids. Last month, my friend and a couple of others had lunch together to plan more for wedding. I was at work and I was unable to attend. They decided that since I was okay with watching the bride's child, I should be okay with watching everyone else's kids too. They decided to set up a daycare-like area at the venue where I would watch the kids. I didn't even know they planned this until yesterday. I told my friend, the bride, that I would only watch her kid. That's all I agreed to. She argued that since I work in pediatrics and I actually like kids, I should have no problem handling 7 to 10 kids. I told her no, I only agreed to watch her child because it was her wedding. I tried to reason and say that if the other parents were willing to pay me for watching their kids, then I would be fine with it. But she said she didn't want to make them pay for something that should be free. Am I the asshole? I kind of feel like one now because she said there are 2 families that aren't coming because they were under the impression there would be free childcare at her wedding, and she's saying I ruined her wedding. Everyone else is telling me just to be nice and help her out because she's already stressed enough.